How can a team with so much potential still look lost on the field and behind the scenes? This is Ethan Carter, and today we're facing 4 ticking time bombs about to explode in the Seahawks' face. A first-round defender who hasn't paid off, a running back who's become a ghost, a potential trade that could rock the foundation, and an offensive line that still looks like a sieve. All of this messes with the immediate future of the franchise. But is anyone in Seattle really in control? Or are we doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past? Stick with me, because this goes deeper than you think. Can I move on to the next segment? What's up, 12s? Everything good? Welcome to another video here on your news and analysis channel, the Seahawks Insider Report. I'm coming at you this Sunday with a truckload of news, hot takes, and everything about the team that makes CenturyLink Field tremble, our Seattle Seahawks. But before anything else, for real, I humbly ask you, if you're not yet part of our nation here on the channel, my friends, passionate Seahawks fans, it's free and helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel. Let's strengthen this Seahawks community. This isn't just about talent, it's about accountability. Byron Murphy II wasn't picked in the first round of the 2024 draft for nothing. He was supposed to be the new pillar of our defensive trenches, a monster in the middle of the line, the guy who would make opposing QBs think twice before letting the ball go. But what did we see in 2024? A player stuck between promise and reality, injuries, a lack of consistency, and a performance that fluctuated more than a fan's mood on game day after a loss. He only had 457 snaps in 14 games. For someone who arrives surrounded by hype, that's not much. And even then, between one quiet game and another, flashes emerged, and what flashes they were. Against the Patriots, Cardinals, and Bears, the kid showed the explosion that put him on the NFL's radar. He aggressively pressured quarterbacks, showed gap discipline, and had raw potential to make a real impact. But that's precisely the problem. Potential without consistency turns into frustration. Murphy only had 1 sack all season, and a lot of people threw him under the bus for it. But hold on, let's look at the numbers coldly. A 70.0 pass rush grade on true pass sets by PFF, a 10% pass rush win rate, and in the 76th percentile for run stops. In other words, the talent is there, and now with Mike Macdonald in charge, it's time to stop making excuses. The coach has made it clear he wants intensity, aggression, and discipline, and Murphy needs to deliver. It's no longer enough to rely solely on Leonard Williams or Jaron Reed, veterans who do their job but won't carry the defense on their backs for another season. The door is open for Murphy to step into a leading role, but he needs to prove he can handle the pressure. Veteran fans know what it's like to see a promising talent turn into deadweight on the roster. We've seen this movie before, and now the question no one wants to ask but needs to be said: what if he doesn't deliver? The Seahawks cannot afford to miss on another first-round defensive pick. The adjustment period is over, and so is the fans' patience. Either Murphy becomes the engine of this D-line, or he becomes a statistic. And with Macdonald rebuilding this unit from scratch, the space for those who don't assert themselves will simply disappear. And if the plan is indeed to establish ourselves as contenders in 2025, the question is, can we count on Murphy at the center of that machine? Or will he be the weak link again? This is an affront, and not just to Kenneth Walker III, it's a direct slap in the face to the Seahawks' recent history. One of the most explosive running backs of the new generation, drafted to be the next nightmare for defenses, now reduced to a footnote on lists compiled by executives who apparently forgot what they saw in 2022. Not a single top 10, not even in the top 15, just an also received votes. And look, I'm not even going to make excuses for Walker here because yes, his production dropped, injuries, an unstable O-line, questionable decisions with the ball, but to completely exclude him from a list of the league's best RBs, that's ignoring the potential that Seattle fans know all too well. And that's where the real problem lies. Walker seems to be stuck between being a defense wrecker and a runner who tries too hard for the big play and forgets the basics. How many times have we seen him ignore the simple cut inside and try to bounce it outside? A 3-yard gain turns into a 2-yard loss. His raw talent is undeniable. Vision, acceleration, tackle breaking ability, but talent without adaptation in the NFL turns into statistics and frustration. ESPN consulted coaches, scouts, and executives to put together this list, and they preferred names like Breece Hall, Devon Achane, James Conner, even Bucky Irvin, guys who in practice delivered less or have less of a track record. What does that say? That the league is losing faith in Walker. And for a team like the Seahawks, that's dangerous. Because if the plan is to have an efficient ground game to take pressure off Sam Darnold, then the RB1 needs to be respected and reliable. Last year, Walker had his worst numbers, But that can't be a permanent excuse. He urgently needs to learn to run with intelligence, not just instinct. And the coaching staff needs to stop coddling him with soft talk. The pressure is real now. This exclusion from the list isn't just a statistic, it's a message. If he doesn't respond in 2025, Zach Charbonnet or even a rookie will take that spot. The NFL waits for no one. And the veteran fan, the one who saw Lynch truck defenses and leave his soul on the field, will not tolerate a running back who hesitates at contact. So here's the dilemma. Will Kenneth Walker use this snub as fuel, or will he continue to fade game by game until he becomes a footnote in the Seahawks rebuild? The mere idea already makes your heart race. Terry McLaurin in the Seahawks offense. Sounds crazy? You can bet it's not. The wide receiver's dissatisfaction with the Commanders isn't a rumor, it's reality. And according to Sports Illustrated, if he's traded, the main destination would be precisely Seattle. Now stop everything and think. After sending our WR1 to Pittsburgh at the start of the offseason and seeing that the Kupp Smith-Njigba duo still isn't striking fear into anyone, what would make more sense than to acquire a receiver in his prime, hungry for a starring role with an explosive profile? McLaurin wants $30 million a year. And you know what's even crazier? We can afford it. The Seahawks have cap space, $57.5 million free, and with Kupp coming off knee surgery and carrying a huge contract, logic screams at us, trade Kupp, bring in McLaurin. Simple? It never is, but plausible? Absolutely. And before anyone says, but what about the chemistry with Darnold, remember that Kupp and Darnold played together on the Saints, but they didn't exactly build a dynasty there. McLaurin, on the other hand, is the type of WR Darnold has never had, vertical, physical, clutch. Imagine the impact of that on an offense that currently depends on the development of a sophomore and the recovery of a veteran. It's more than just strategy, it's identity. McLaurin's arrival could rewrite the narrative of an offense that in recent years has lost consistency and lost its voice. No more Lockett, no more Metcalf, no more Geno. Reconstruction isn't optional, it's mandatory. And if the idea is to contend for the playoffs in 2025, you need aggression, the kind that makes you send high picks, take risks, change the tone of the offseason. That's what this trade represents. Of course, the problem goes beyond 2025 because fitting McLaurin into the cap in subsequent years will hurt. Projections show a real squeeze starting in 2026. But when did Seattle ever shy away from boldness? When the team pursued beast mode or Jimmy Graham, did anyone hide behind a spreadsheet? And then comes the dilemma, continue betting on names that live more in the past or make a splash in the NFL and say we're back. The front office has a clear chance to turn this offense into a real threat. The question is, will they have the courage to pick up the phone and make this trade, or will they let another contender act first? How many more times are we going to fall into the same trap? Draft a promising rookie, hire a respected coach, tweak the tactical scheme, and boom, they think the offensive line is fixed. But it's not. And anyone who watches the Seahawks every Sunday knows it. The center and right side of the line still look like a war zone. And then Bumpus tells it like it is. If you want to truly compete in 2025, the team needs to go after Will Hernandez, one of the most underrated veteran linemen still on the market. And look, he's not just talking to hear himself speak. Hernandez has 91 NFL starts, has started on both sides of the line, and brings a combination that Seattle lacks: experience, aggression, and technique. Yes, he's coming off a knee injury. He only played 5 games last year. But in the 2 years prior, his Pro Football Focus grade was solid, 29th among 87 guards in 2022, 23rd among 88 in 2023. He's not elite, but he's stable. And stability is what this unit has lacked since Max Unger left. Kubiak's scheme, with its Shanahan influence, demands an O-line that can move, use their hands intelligently, and not get bogged down in zone. Hernandez delivers all of that. Good in pass block, efficient in the run game, and with a pass block win rate above 94% over the last 3 years. That's not just any number, that's consistency in a unit that has sunk the Seahawks offense season after season. And that's why Bumpus' analysis carries weight. While Christian Haynes and Anthony Bradford are the current favorites for RG, the truth is neither has proven they can handle 17 games without becoming a sieve. And that's where the challenge comes in. Why not bring in Hernandez to compete for that spot and elevate the entire unit's level? He's cheap, has upside, and doesn't require scheme adaptation. But time is ticking. Every week that passes, the market closes more. And the question is, are we going to wait for Darnold to get steamrolled in the first 3 weeks before scrambling for help? Or are we going to act now and protect the guy before the season even starts? Because if the idea is to give this offense any real chance to get going, it doesn't matter if you have Coop, McLaurin, or whoever else. If the line keeps melting down, the plan will implode. So Seahawks, will it be reaction or prevention? If there's still a plan in Seattle, it needs to reveal itself now. Byron Murphy II has to evolve. Kenneth Walker needs to wake up. McLaurin could be the spark we're missing, and Hernandez represents the last chance to protect what little hope is left in this offense. The time for patience is over. It's time for action, and if the Seahawks truly want to compete with the big dogs again, every one of these decisions matters. Now, I want to know, do you trust this roster, or has the rebuild become an illusion? If this video made you think, comment below and smash that like button. Join us.